Happy Sunday, October 11th. Welcome to the odds.com NFL Kickoff show here with Rob Bebeneck and myself. Lots to break down, lots of moving parts. We are 2 hours before kickoff. Bebsy, you stayed off Thursday night. You helped me stay off Thursday night. You're sitting 17-6, 73.9% plus 9.88 units. ROI plus 42.96%. Average line minus 114. Double-digit units are calling your name, Bebsy. How you doing today, my man?
Doing pretty good, bud. Yeah, the Thursday night game, I said exactly why I wanted to stay off it, and exactly that happened. So home team or no team on Thursday nights, even though I do believe Tampa is the better team, but we stay off for games for a reason, and that's exactly why.
Yes, and the Brady mistake is just wild. I just can't believe the guy's got everything in life. You're allowed to make mistakes. You don't need to pretend you didn't make a mistake there. But whatever. We got much more important things to talk about right now. First off, shout out to all the cappers in the chat. Adam Lastman, ready to go. Typical Skeptic, ready to go. Mr. Fun Monk, Jensen, Jimmy, German Brito, Nick Dillard, Dennis Garcia in the house, Shane Schwader, Johnny K, Cash Action Bets, Dan Kelly, Ron Walsek, Birdie. What a great group. We got Nilo in the house, Mike Turner. And Dennis Garcia says, the Bears delivered. Yes, Dennis wrote an article on the Thursday Nighter explaining why you should take the Bears on odds.com. Great job, Dennis Garcia. Prince of the City says, are you hoping Wentz is running for his life to get those yards? Yes, I did add a Wentz prop, and I do expect him to be running for his life. I don't care that he averages 4.5 rush yards a game against the Steelers. Look what he did the first 2 games of the year. He averaged 4.5 rush yards the first 2 games of the year. What's he done the last couple? 65 rush yards a game. Yes, I expect him to be able to get me 14.5 rush yards. I don't think that's asking too much, Prince of the City. I don't think that's asking too much. Von Polo ready to go. Yes, that was wild last night. We got Stuart, Adam Roberts, Eric Instroza, Carlos ready to eat, Alex Van Hooser, Tony Hill, Razor Sharp, Noel. What a great group. A1 from the range, Michael Ricciardi, Hustle Wilson, Lance LaRose. Let's get to work. Right now. Thank you guys all for joining us. All right. First off, thank you, Buck Nasty in the house as well. And Jimmy the Bag, Dan says Mitch Wilson's over there talking shit about you. Yes, I'm sure he is. There are lots of touts out there that want your money. They want your money really bad. And when they see a group of people that don't want your money, they're going to talk shit about them because they want to take money out of your pocket. It's very, very simple. Okay, let's get to work right now. We're going to start on the Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. And Mitch, good luck taking everybody's cash and giving no value for it. Panthers, Falcons, let's get to work. Bebsy made a move on the Panthers +3. Why don't we start off the show by breaking down the looks that Bebsy's on. He's on Panthers +3, Chiefs first half -7, Cardinals first half -3.5, Steelers full game -7, Ravens first half -7, Vikings team total over 23.5. Bebsy, are there any moves on this card that you like even more? Any moves on this card that you like less?
Well, I do love the Arizona because that is not even close to what the line is anymore. I got it 3.5, and it is now 7. So I'm loving that pick now. I mean, value alone, I look like a genius with that early one.
You're saying that first half has gone to 7? Sorry, let me check this out. No, there's still 3.5 and 4, Bebsy.
Oh, shit.
You're looking at full game. You're looking at
I'm looking at the full game. I'm a moron.
It's okay. What? It's early.
Let's restart this.
It's early. So anything make you uncomfortable on your card right now?
It's not like last week where I felt like I was kind of into some trap action here. I'm still liking my card. I felt this was a pretty tough week, to be honest with you. And the fact that I've got this many picks still in, I'm feeling pretty good with it.
Alrighty, well, let's break this down. You got the Panthers +3 at Fox Bet at -118. That is gone. There are ones. There's a half. Oh shit, now I'm looking at first half. Sorry. That is gone. That went down all the way to 1, and is now the Falcons have taken late money to move that to 2.5 or 2. Panthers won 2 straight after their big 31-21 win over the Cardinals at home. Bridgewater has completed 73% of his passes, third best in the NFL. Mike Davis has been great in replacing McCaffrey, 202 yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns. Robbie Anderson, 377 yards receiving, 6th most in the NFL. Their defense has stepped up in a big way after allowing 67 points in the first 2 games, giving up 37 in the last 2. Brian Burns, pass rushing. You got Quan Short back. Derek Brown's improved play. This defense is starting to roll, but they are banged up on the offensive line, and Eli Apple is probably going to be unavailable here in this game. Going up against the 0-4 Falcons, coming off an ugly 30-16 loss to Green Bay. They've allowed 13 touchdown passes. That's the most in the NFL, and they are a mess. They're a mess in their secondary. So DeMonte Casey missed the remainder of the season with a torn Achilles. Raheem Morris hopes to have DC hopes to have Tack back. Possibly Keanu Neal, Ricardo Allen back. A.J. Terrell has been activated from the COVID list. Cornerback Darqueze Dennard is out. Jalen Hawks recovering from a concussion. And Julio Jones did not practice all week. Will be a game-time decision. What do you think about this spot that you're on with the Panthers and this total sitting at 54, Bebsy?
Look, I'm still good with it. I know Birdie here, we're going head-to-head because he's saying there are teams, when they play certain teams, they get right. I love you, Bebsy, but this is a Falcons spot. Birdie, with all due respect, I do disagree. I see a team in complete turmoil, in a tailspin. They're a disaster right now, the Falcons. And quite frankly, the Panthers are rolling. They're rallying in the absence of Christian McCaffrey, and they're playing great football. I was wrong about that. I said they would be stunted without McCaffrey. I believe, Jimmy, you said the opposite. This might open that offense up, and it has. They look great.
I said that, and I didn't put my money where my mouth was, so I don't deserve any accolades. But I am concerned about this spot. I'm not going to go up against you, but, man, the Falcons need this so badly. And historically, they've been able to step up against Carolina. Mike Venter says Panthers are pass. This will end up being a pass for me. What do you think about this total sitting at 54?
There's nothing that entices me to bet this total one way or the other. I mean, it's sitting kind of exactly where I would expect it to. There has been a 1-point movement on that, so I'm guessing a lot of people like the under in this. It's not overly appealing to me, though.
Alrighty, so we have Bebsy on the Panthers at +3 going heads up with Birdie here in the chat. Is this a get-right spot for the Falcons? My money is not going to be involved in this game. All right, let's move on to Raiders-Chiefs. And also we got big news this Tuesday. The Whale Capper will be joining Bebsy and I this Tuesday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern. Check that out. Elliot V is also on the Falcons. Al Cervix says tease the Panthers. And Jensen looking at a teaser card with the Cards -1, Texans +0.5, and Steelers -1. I mean, I like it. That looks sound to me. Jensen, that looks sound to me. Eric Nostroza says, is Julio still out? That's going to be decided. It's being decided right now. So at this point, we don't know. Dennis Garcia says, Teddy covers for me. Atlanta has told you who they are. Believe them. All right, we move on to Raiders-Chiefs. Bebsy made a move on the Chiefs first half at -7, at -115, and I moved on the under 56. This was on Tuesday. Right now, let's see. The Chiefs first half -7 is still available. The full game total here is down to 54. So I beat that market move by 2 points. 80 Fahrenheit, sunny. The wind is 15 miles per hour in Kansas City. The 2-2 Raiders going up against the 4-0 Chiefs. Raiders coming off 30-23 loss at home to the Bills. Derek Carr is 0-6 in his career at Arrowhead. He has 9 turnovers in those games. He has a 63.2 quarterback rating at Arrowhead. The Raiders have allowed 3 of 4 opponents to score at least 30 points. They're 31st in the league in points allowed and yards per play, last in sacks and takeaways. Pass rush tied for 29th in sacks, 26th in pressures. This is a banged-up club. And I just told you all these terrible stats about the Raiders defense, and yet I'm on the under, and the money's coming in on the under. And the situation with me, we'll talk a little bit more about these Raiders injuries, and we'll talk about the Chiefs. But for me, Bebsy, I think you nailed it when you said these Chiefs will put up 40 points if they have to. If they don't, they won't. They don't need to. They'll run the clock, they'll win comfortably, and not put up all those points. What do you think of your look on Chiefs first half -7 and the under 56? That's now 54.
Well, it's why I like that first half play and not so much the full game. To be honest with you, the full game still does kind of entice me just because of the sheer talent on the Kansas City Chiefs. But I do like them to come out hard in this one and blow this open early. So I feel like that first half is safe. And then if they do let off the gas, you could see the Raiders come crawling back into this game. So they're just not evenly matched teams, in my opinion. I'm pretty high on the Raiders in general, where a lot of people aren't. I like their offense. Their defense has been pretty bad, and you don't want to put a pretty bad defense up against the Chiefs. So really like the first half look, kind of like the whole game look, but much more comfortable in the first half.
Shane Twitter says, no Chris Jones. Let's talk about that. He missed last week's game with a groin injury. All week he was expected back. So Shane Twitter saying, no Chris Jones. I have him still expected back this weekend. So Chiefs are second in scoring defense, 5th in total defense. Frank Clark rolling. Their safety, Juan Thornhill, has been a shining star. And Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, right beside him. So that's news now that Chris Jones will not be in the lineup from our Shane Schwader. You know, it's not just that 26-10 win over the Patriots was underwhelming. It was just that's what this team seems to do. Let's talk about some of these injuries here. Defensive tackle Maurice Hurst on the COVID list. Do we know if any of these wide receivers, Ruggs, Gafford, Brian Edwards, all missed the Bills game, all this is questionable? Are any of them coming back? Do we know that, Betsy?
As far as I know, Ruggs is still out, which I think is the only big mention there.
Herman Brito saying Raiders cover. Nick Dillard saying Mahomes over 23.5 rush yards. Is this a defense that's going to make him when Mahomes needs to get those yards, he will, but he doesn't want to put himself in vulnerable situations. Leo Mack saying Ruggs is back. Dylan Turner says Mahomes rush prop cash 2 weeks in a row for me. They keep putting it around 20. That's a scramble or 2 for Mahomes. There's Nasty Nate rolling with us. Spenny Pennybomb says Raiders play the Chiefs tough. Al Service says I don't trust the Raiders D at all. At all. Chili Dog Dooley says Raiders buy on deck. Take that into consideration. Is there any addition, anything you want to do? Are you very comfortable with your Chiefs first half -7?
I think that's the best look in this game. There's a few guys bringing up good points, especially with the Raiders having a buy on deck. I can see a sneaky backdoor cover in this. I could also see an absolute blowout by the Chiefs, but the first half 7, that makes me a lot more comfortable in my play this week. So I'm sticking with what I got right now.
Alrighty, and I'm not going to move either. I'm on the full game under 56, and Bebsy's on the Chiefs first half -7. All right, let's move on to Cardinals-Jets. Cardinals-Jets, see if there's been any movement here. We have word from our Clint Richardson. Clint Richardson saying, appears to be sharp action on the Jets. Those brave sharps. And Birdie saying, let's remember right now the Chiefs have the Bills on deck. They want to get through this one. Under is the only look. All right. I like hearing that. Okay. Let's talk about this Jets spot. The Cardinals open up at -7.5. And now we have 7s right across the board. This total opened up at 46.5, and now we have it moved to 48.5. And interestingly enough, that I had some interest in that under, and the market moving against that. Let me just pull up, see when this market move happened. It looks like there has been money coming in on the Jets. And some of the leading indicator books moved the Jets to 7 from 7.5 yesterday. 66 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 7 miles per hour. Bebsy moved on the Cardinals first half -3.5. Nick Dillard saying Le'Veon Bell is in the lineup today. That is right. That is true. I moved on the Cardinals. I double dipped on them early. First quarter -2.5. First half -3.5. And then I have that lean there to the under 47, which I won't pull the trigger on. Cardinals did not look good in their third. Actually, you know what? Maybe we'll see how high this goes up. Maybe I shouldn't say I won't do it. I guess it is more appealing at 48.5, even though I'd be going up against the market move. Cardinals did not look good in that 31-21 loss to Carolina. Arizona finished with 262 yards on offense. 2 straight losses. Kyler Murray says there's a sense of urgency now. He said you could feel it all week in practice. And that was the idea that we had when Bebsy and I were wanting to go up against this Jets team early. DeAndre Hopkins coming off a game where he had 41 yards on 7 receptions. He missed all week due to a foot injury. They're hoping that Budda Baker will be back in the lineup. He missed 1 week. He missed the Panthers game following thumb surgery. This Cardinals secondary is missing their top 3 safeties last week. Kingsbury says that Thompson and Banjo could also return. So that'd be their 3 guys back in action. The Jets winless, trying to avoid opening up a season with 5 straight losses for the first time since '96. Hope the heat is on Adam Gase. There's going to be Flacco under center. Good thing he's got Le'Veon Bell. He's not going to have Brashard Perryman. He's doubtful with the ankle injury. And they lost 3 offensive tackles to injuries in the Cards game. They're all questionable right now. That's Fant, Becton, and Edoga. Wow, here we go. I like this spot very much. Cards first quarter. Shane Schwader says, what odds am I – oh, talking about Chili Dog. Okay. First quarter -2.5, first half -3.5, and you're on the first half. What do you think of this spot, Pepsi?
I don't understand why anybody's putting anything on the Jets right now. Like, what exactly is it that I'm missing here? I have seen a terrible team get injured, look uninspired, look worse. I can't wrap my head around putting anything on the Jets. Now, I don't think Arizona is a particularly great team. It's why I didn't jump on this as a full game, but they are just a better football team from top to bottom. So it feels to me like the smart play is this first half. I like your first quarter play too. I think the under is very much in play at 47.5, 48, sitting around there. Because again, I don't see this Jets team as a team that can put up points against any team. The Arizona defense isn't impressive. They're better with Budda Baker in the lineup, so that's a big swing one way or another. But I'm just not – I don't see it. Cards are a sneaky fade, but not nickel on Flacco, not 1 nickel. Yeah, sure. I mean, that's another factor is Flacco's playing. He's much worse than Sam Darnold. So I just don't see it. I don't see the Jets putting up much of a fight at all until Adam Gase is fired.
Nick Dillard looking at that Jets team total under 19.5. Spenny says Flacco will throw at least a pick and have a fumble. I think he's going to have a very conservative offense here today. Let's just take a look at what that – oh, and that rush yards, by the way, is moved from 14.5 for Carson Wentz to 16.5, and it's still juiced at -130. And a lot of people coming in saying that this look at 14.5 rush yards was a mistake. It's heavily juiced. It'll be a costly mistake if it is one. All right, let's take a look at this spot here. Team totals for the Jets sitting at 19.5, and that's heavily juiced to the over. I don't know exactly what I'm missing here. We know that the road teams that have nice offenses are putting up a lot of points because there's no need for hand signals and that because they can hear each other. Why would this Jets – I mean, what is your expectation of this Cardinals defense? Why would the Jets over 19.5 be so heavily juiced to the over, Bebsy?
Maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe somebody's got some inside scoop. I don't see it. If that under being a nice play, why are the Jets going to explode all of a sudden? Le'Veon Bell wasn't doing much before he got hurt. Flacco's not going to inject a ton of life into this game. I don't get it. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I've heard people wanting to fade the Cardinals this week. I just don't see it. While I don't think the Cardinals are as good as some of the hype that surround them, I just think they're a much better team. And, going back to what I was saying about Adam Gase, this team doesn't want to play for him. They hate his guts. Like, I can't see them putting their bodies on the line at 0-4 for a coach they hate. And there's no way they like that guy. Nobody likes that guy.
The King says, how is the Jets getting over 20 points in this game? Elliot V says, Jets. Birdie says he will log more steps walking to take a piss today than Flacco will have playing a full game in the pocket. Ibrahim says, Jets are cheeks. I wonder why this is going over, and this makes me want to move on. I mean, I don't want to sit here with too much action on this game. What do you find more appealing, this total at 48.5 or the Jets team total under 19.5?
I think I lean towards the team total under for the Jets. I mean, I think both are very much in play, if I'm being honest. Until the Jets start putting up points, I can't believe that they will.
Top says stake under 47. This has moved up to 48.5. I guess the only concern is if the Cardinals start running up the score, but Michael Ricciardi says a third game on the East Coast for the Cardinals. Jason Larry says a reason why you would take the Jets. Love to hear just one reason. Intech says if a road team also receives line movement of at least a half point in their direction, they improve to 17-11 against the spread, 60.7%. Oh, God, I just feel like, why would this be juiced so much? It doesn't make sense. Is this because they're announcing right now that the secondary of the Cardinals is not coming back? Is it because Budda Baker, Thompson, and Banjo won't be in the lineup? I mean, that's the only thing I can imagine.
There's a chance they're keeping people out because they're playing at MetLife and they don't want guys who are already injured to get injured worse. We've seen how many guys have gone down at that stadium this year. Maybe that's precautionary. The biggest danger right now to the Cardinals is them not taking this game seriously enough. But they're just – I don't care that they're on the road. They're just a better football team. And it's not like the Jets have proven to be anything special at home.
Team total under 19.5 at plus money.
Yeah, there's no way. Andrew G saying the Texans said O'Brien lost to the locker room. Got to think Gase has lost this as well. I don't see how he hasn't. How can you believe in this guy? He's an absolute joke of a coach.
Jason Lowry says Cards first half minus 3.5. Yeah, I mean, that's what we did. Top sets on Cards, team total over and full game under. Well, at that point, if that's the move, then I'll just sit here and take this team total under at plus 100. All right, I pulled the trigger. This is my first edition. Jets team total under 19.5 at plus 100. Jets team total under 19.5 at plus 100. That won't become official until I bet it. We're in 35 minutes before game time. So we'll see how that bangs out. All right, let's move on to Eagles-Steelers. Eagles-Steelers. And Bet365 offering the Steelers at -7, slightly juiced to -120, and the total at 44.5. This total opened up at 46.5 and it's gone down to 43.5 at some books, 44 at others. And Pittsburgh is at 7.5 at a couple books. Some at 7, some at 7.5. I moved on a double dip in this game. I took the Steelers first half -4 and full game -7. Bebsy took the Steelers -7, and then I added Wentz over 14.5 rush yards. That's now moved to 16.5 in about an hour and a half. 70 Fahrenheit in Pittsburgh. Rain, 6 miles per hour is the win. Eagles coming off their first win of the season, 25-20. 3 wide receivers didn't play last week. They're all listed as questionable. Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, and Arcega Whiteside. Wentz came into the week with the lowest passing rating and most turnovers in the NFL. He's struggled in the pocket. He's throwing a league worst 7 picks. That's it, matches total from each of the past 3 years. But he's scrambling more, way more. And he's been talking about in interviews that he feels like that's the way he can make plays and make things happen. And that's why I went on the over 14.5. I am 0-2 in player props so far this year, and sitting 16-17 on the season. But he has gained 102 yards on 16 carries in the past 2 games. I expect him to do some of that as well. Steelers don't have anyone on their injury report. They had last week off because of the Titans' positive COVID test. They lead the NFL in sacks per game at 5. Interestingly enough, Philadelphia's second with 4.2. They put up 8 against the Bengals in their spot there. 8 different Steelers have at least half a sack. 10 different Steelers have at least 4 touches in the last through 3 games. Connor topped 100 yards rushing in consecutive games. Steelers look tough here. Take it away, Bebsy. Eagles, Steelers.
I think just with the healthiness and the rested factor in the Steelers, they're such a good team, and I don't know why people are so late to the ball on this. I just feel like Philadelphia, with the injuries, playing in bad weather, Wentz played out of his mind last week, and so did that defensive front. That's how they ended up, beating the Niners. But this to me still feels like such an easy play for the Steelers. I just think I'm so high on them this year, and so far they haven't let me down. They just look great. I can't see them moving the ball against this incredibly talented and very healthy defensive football team.
Agreed.
See, Wentz was able to move so much last week because all the Niners' defensive ends are out. All their athletic guys aren't there. So he had so much free range to get out of that pocket and move outside. The Steelers have a healthy TJ Watt and Bud Dupree. It's just not going to happen in this game.
Yeah, I agree. Carlos Cortez is part of the group that's teasing the Steelers down. Brady says, I will stand by my take. Caution in the first half makes sense. I worry that it will take Pittsburgh a bit to get going on offense. Dennis Garcia is on the Pitt Philadelphia under 44.5. And that's an interesting look. What do you think of this total that's being bet down from 46.5 down to even 43.5 at some books?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you've lost a bit of value if it's gone down that much. I'm leaning under as well, just because bad weather, and again, I don't see Wentz being able to move the ball very well against this Steelers defense. So the under to me is still much in play, even though it's been bet down.
Yeah, and then another way you could look at it is just focus on the Eagles alone. They're at 17.5. That's juiced heavily to the under. That would have been a move I would have had to have got on earlier, but it does make a lot of sense. Razor Sharp coming in saying that Julio Jones is out today. That bodes well for Bebsy and those of you that are on the Panthers. Birdie says, I think under in the first quarter may be a better look. And there's Ron Lofton in the house. And Jim Rummy says the only player I could give at the current prices is Rams over 44.5, first half over 22.5. Says Jets has moved too far. Jason White saying best bet of the day, Colts. All righty. Let's move on. Charlie Chips like in Carolina to beat Atlanta. Okay, we move on to Rams, Washington. Washington, 67 Fahrenheit rain. Wind is 4 miles per hour. And we have a bunch of moving parts here. a small one is McVay coming back. He spent 7 seasons as a Washington assistant. But the main thing here is that Dwayne Haskins Jr., who went 32 of 45 for a career-high 314 yards last week in a game where I thought they played pretty well against the Ravens. I mean, they were incapable of making the big plays. They had 7 fewer yards in total than the Ravens. They had the ball more than the Ravens. And Ron Rivera benches him for Kyle Allen, who knows Scott Turner's OC Scott Turner's system from his time in Carolina. But this is a very interesting move. Let's start with just this move before we break down the rest of the game. What do you think of Rivera's move, benching Haskins in favor of Kyle Allen?
I don't understand it, to be honest with you, especially with Haskins coming off one of his better games, at least numbers-wise. I really don't get the play here. And it's not that he moved him down. He moved him down to third string. Alex Smith is the backup quarterback right now. So Haskins, there's got to be more to the story. They got in a fight or something. I don't understand it. I thought Haskins was showing a little bit of improvement, especially in the leadership category. I don't get the play here. And look, we've seen Kyle Allen. We've seen what to expect from him. He's not a good quarterback. He's not a terrible quarterback. So do they really not like Haskins that much? Is this the look here? I don't fully get it, but I like Ron Rivera. I think he's a good coach, so maybe he's doing something right here. Maybe he's trying to light a fire under Haskins. I don't know what the play is. I got to see how it shakes out.
Well, it has to be locker room. It just has to be locker room. Stevie B says he's waiting to bench Haskins since he became head coach. Just has to be. Let's talk about the Rams. They looked like a juggernaut offensively in the second half against the Bills. We double-dipped on the Rams last week and lost them both. Coming off an ugly 17-9 win over the Giants, 240 total yards. They went 45 minutes between touchdowns. Through 4 games, Goff is 88 for 122 for 1,063 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks. His completion rate of 72.1 is 4th in the NFL. They scored 69 points in their 2 road games. 69 points. And they have had a tougher time scoring at home. Washington is going to have Chase Young available as well. Their center and guard, Roulier and Schweitzer, are both expected to be back in the lineup. All 3 were questionable. What do you think of this line right now? Rams open up at -9. Money comes in on the Skins. It goes all the way down to 7. They're 7.5 of plus money. This total went from 46 to 45.5. Bebsy, take it away.
Well, I think the time to get in on Washington to cover was earlier this week. I like it a lot less now, but the Rams were so underwhelming last week against a very, very bad Giants team that was on the road. So I don't know what to expect from them. I don't know if they just were looking at that game as something they didn't have to try for, but it's not like it wasn't a look-ahead game last week. They got the Washington football team this week. So I'm still not sure. I feel like the Rams early in the season maybe exceeded some expectations, and then people got on this train like, oh, the Rams are back. I still think that Rams football team is sitting around an 8-8 finish. A lot of people, were started talking, oh, this Rams team could challenge for the division. I don't believe that. I just think they got off to a very good start. Last week might have been more indicative of what we're going to see from this team this week. So if anything, I still lean Washington, but it would be an awful lot nicer to get in early in the week on them.
Yeah, this is a watch and see spot here. We talked a lot about Washington on Tuesday, and I came somewhat close to moving on them, but this has to be a watch and see. Birdie says Rams on their 3rd trip to the East Coast in 4 weeks against a real tough scheduling spot. Says Washington is live today, and Birdie took Washington to win the NFC East at plus 1,100. Viper says Kyle Allen is the dump off king, and Shane Schwader saying Washington all day. Washington all day.
I'm kind of with them. I do lean Washington a bit in this one. You know how much I love that front seven. I boast about them every week. I think they're criminally underrated because of the rest of the football team not being very good. I haven't seen Josh Allen play a great game, or Kyle Allen. Sorry. So I can't excitedly jump on this. I feel like earlier in the week was a nicer play, but I would still lean Washington, and for all the reasons why people are jumping on Washington, I agree with here.
It is a pass for me. Let's move into Bengals Ravens. This is where we both have moves on opposite teams. Bebsy's moved on the Ravens first half at -7. He got that at -105. Let's see if that's available right now. Ravens, Bengals. Yes, the first half is still -7. The full game is what has changed. And the full game, I took Bengals +13. We have 11. We have an 11 on the board. We have 11.5s and 3 12s. This total's gone from 51.5 down to about 49. About 49. Here we go. Baltimore, 68 Fahrenheit, rain. 5 miles per hour is the wind. Bengals coming off that big 33-25 win. Put up 505 yards, 151 yards on the ground from Mixon, 300 by Burrow. Burrow's thrown for 300 yards in 3 straight, but he's getting hit hard. Hit 36 times in 4 games, 8 sacks, and hit 10 more times 2 weeks ago against Philadelphia. He was hit 5 times against Jacksonville. Bengals have averaged 28.6 points per game over their last 3. And it's Burrow. Burrow, 928 yards, 6 touchdown passes, 1 pick. Joe Mixon had a shin injury. He's good to go, so no worries there. The big story is Geno Atkins will be back in the lineup against the Ravens. Practiced in full Friday for the first time this season. He is a go. Ravens coming off 31-17 win at Washington. Jackson, 14-21 for 193 yards, ran 7 times for 53 yards. He was questionable this week. I mean, everyone thought he was going to play. He had a knee injury. When the knee injury felt good enough to practice, he got sick. But Jackson, Mark Andrews, tight end, and wide receiver Marquise Brown, all listed as questionable. All are expected to play. Not only that, but cornerback Marcus Peterson, who has a thigh injury, questionable. Jimmy Smith, cornerback, knee, questionable. They're expected to play. Ronnie Stanley's shoulder, he's expected to play. He missed last week. So the Ravens have a ton of weapons on defense coming back that they didn't have in that lackluster win at Washington. How do you feel about your Ravens first half? What do you think of my Bengals +13, Bebsy?
I still love them both. I love the Ravens first half because I do think they are a far superior football team that I think has a very good chance to jump out ahead in this one. And then I love your play for the simple reason that I think Joe Burrow's still undefeated against the spread this year. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like backdoor Burrow throwing up some points in the latter half of this game is really going to help you out, and it's going to make me happy because I'm not going to care about the second half of this game because I believe the Ravens are more than capable of jumping out by 7.
Yeah, Geno's a big deal. What do you think of Geno's return?
Geno's a huge deal. I mean, the guy's an incredibly talented player. Often because he plays in Cincinnati, and he's such an important veteran presence on that line. I just think there's too many weapons that the Ravens have, and the Ravens, they're all going to play today. I just feel like it's too little of an impact for such a juggernaut of an offense, really. Like this team should be playing better than they are. A lot of people are saying, choosing the narrative, oh, they're getting figured out. I don't think they are. I think a couple of stumbles is all right, but there's just too much talent on this Ravens offense. Geno helps big time, and I think if anything, it helps that second half for you and me not caring.
Johnny K likes the over in this Bengals Ravens spot. This total's down to 49 from 51.5. What do you think of this total?
Let me see here. I would probably lean. I was going to say under, but then again, I don't know. This could blow up. I don't like it. It's not overly enticing to me.
The totals, after kind of struggling a bit, seeing all the high-scoring games early, have been something that I've really kind of pumped the brakes on. I have one total on my card this week, just the under 56 in Raiders Chiefs. There's Gas Station Sushi joining us. Great to see you, Gas. There you go. Bebsy on Ravens, first half -7. I'm on Bengals +13. And our guy, Vincente Gigante, has jumped on both of those. Those are he's using both of those looks. All right, we move on to, I believe, the final 1 o'clock game on the card here. Jaguars Texans. And I like this spot a lot. I moved on the Texans first half. Hard not to like Romeo Crennel. 73 years old. He's going to be the oldest coach to start a game in the NFL history today. And I like him. And it feels, it's hard to get honesty, but it feels like the Texans like him. The first half right now is -3 still. There is a couple 3.5s on the board. If you want the 3, the juice is at a minimum -120, up to -125. I got it -115. So slight success there. And then we look at full game totals and spreads here. What are we getting? This total opened up at 54. It's now 54.5. Houston opened up at -7. That was at plus money and is now down to 5.5 at most books. There are some 6s on the board. It's Crennel's time. He's been an assistant for O'Brien since 2014. He's been a head coach both the Browns and the Chiefs. Houston's NFL worst run defense is surprising. Continues to struggle. 162 yards given up in their last game. And that is something that J.J. Watt's been talking about over and over again. And then we talk about Jacksonville. Minshew throws for 351 yards. Robinson runs for 75 yards, yet they lose by 8 points to Cincinnati. Their defense allowed 505 yards. Miles Jack is questionable, but I've got some updates on these guys. C.J. Henderson and Josh Allen, a shoulder injury, knee injury. These are extremely important guys. Cornerback DJ Hayden, hamstring, is out. So Herndon is going to fill Hayden's role, Trey Herndon, on passing downs. And then second-year safety Andrew Wingard is going to start his 4th consecutive game. Jared Wilson was activated from injured reserve. He could come back in the lineup. But this Jags defense looks awful, absolutely awful. They're 29th in the league in sacks per pass attempt. They couldn't get anything on Joe Burrow last week. I love my Texans first half -3. I love it. I would say, in fact, that it's probably my favorite play on the board. We'll go over our favorite plays, but I think this will be a good fight for my favorite play on the board. What do you think of my look, Texans first half? What do you think of this spot, Jaguars Texans?
I really like your look at -3 first half. I don't know if I love the full game on them. Look, the only person who loves a good, heartwarming NFL story more than me is Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell's going to want Romeo Crennel to succeed in this spot. I hope the team rallies behind Romeo. I like him. I think he's a great coach. Unfortunately, he had to coach for Cleveland for a while, so I would love to see them rally behind Romeo. But we've seen how Minshew plays when he's this big of a dog, so it's hard to bet against Jacksonville. Now, the injuries to that defense are significant and worth noting to see who plays and who doesn't. It's a look-and-see spot for me simply because I want to see how this Houston team responds. If they were, I'm not going to say not trying, but if they were maybe not giving their 100% because they hate Bill O'Brien, I could potentially see this team not bouncing back and winning a division or anything, but, being competitive and not embarrassing throughout the year. They've obviously had a very tough start to the season, but it's a sit back and watch play for me. The only play that I like in this is yours, and I like it a lot. I'm with you on the -3 first half.
Yes, I like it too. I like it quite a bit. Tim Montana says, give me Houston. Think they win by 10-14. Mr. Gogi says, rally for Romeo. Yeah, I like this quite a bit. All right, those are all the 1 p.m. games. So with the 1 p.m. games. We have 5 looks from Bebsy, who's sitting 17-6 on the season at plus 9.88 units. So Bebsy's on the Panthers plus 3, the Chiefs first half -7, Cardinals first half -3.5, Steelers full game -7, Ravens first half -7. Those are Bebsy's 5 looks on the 1 p.m. games. For me, I've got Raiders Chiefs under 56, Cardinals first quarter -2.5, Cardinals first half -3.5, Steelers first half -4, Steelers full game -7, Bengals plus 13, and Texans first half -3. Bebsy, of your 1 p.m. bets, Panthers plus 3, Chiefs first half -7, Cardinals first half -3.5, Steelers full game -7, Ravens first half -7. What's your favorite look?
Chiefs first half maybe, but also, man, I'm so high on the Steelers right now. I think that's my favorite look here.
Okay. There you go.
They're so good.
My favorite look is Texans first half -3. Although I like my Cardinal spots. I feel like you know what? Maybe look, Jags offense is dangerous. So I guess there's some pressure on JJ and the boys to step up for Cornell. Do you fear that Jags offense could start putting up points early on the Texans?
Look, I think that Jags offense, anytime they're doubted, is dangerous. It's like this team doesn't play well when you expect them to, and then when you don't expect them to, they play great. It's that Minshew magic. I think that's the only fear that you have is the fable of Minshew. But in reality, I like Houston coming out strong in this one. I like the idea of them jumping out ahead, being like, see, this is how good we are without, moron Bill O'Brien at the helm. But I think as far as a full game goes, let's wait and see.
We've got a new Damon, our guy Damon has a new nickname for you. Look and see Bebsy. Look and see Bebsy. And Mr. Fun Monk says Jimmy just loves the action. I love that about you. Look, you know what's happening is that we don't have a lot of action during the week. So from someone who does love action, I'm sitting here during the week with 1 or 2 bets. So yeah, I'm pumped up. I'm so excited about today. Very, very excited. It is Canadian Thanksgiving as well. All right, let's go. Those are the 1 p.m. games. Let's move into the afternoon spots here. Very interesting group. And Ron Walsick says Jax has been starting slow. Houston's defense will be inspired also. All right, let's go. The 1 p.m. games are gone. Now we move into Dolphins-Niners. And I've been struggling not backing the Dolphins here. I kind of want to do it. I'm 0-2 backing them so far this year, and I kind of want to do it. This total opened up at 49.5. It's now at 50.5 or 51. The Niners opened up at -9. It's gone all the way down to 7.5 at some books, but there are 8.5 still on the board, and there are 8. There are 8. 70 Fahrenheit in San Francisco. Sunny, 14 miles per hour is the wind. So Flores, 6-14 as a head coach, coming off a 31-23 loss at home. As head coach, loss at home to the Seahawks. Fitzy's throwing 5 picks. That's tied for 3rd in the NFL's passer rating, ranks 28th. And yet, he still does. It's so funny that his numbers would be that bad. And you're like, no, Fitzy's done a great job this year. I guess you get blinded by the beard and the 37-year-old, and you want to cheer for him. But when you look at his numbers, you're like, wait a minute, your numbers are shit.
That's been him throughout his whole career, though. Is like people love this guy for whatever reason, but he puts up bad numbers. He really does. Like sometimes he'll throw 4 touchdowns, but then they're like, oh, he got 4 touchdowns today, but he also threw like 5 picks. So he's man, we love him, but we should really look at the facts sometimes when we're heaping praise on Fitzy.
Well, I remember when he was in Buffalo, there was that clip of him after throwing a touchdown pass, running and screaming like a 7 or 8 year old girl. And I would do it right now. It is my scream as well. But I'll never forget that. It was not a scream you would expect from a leader of men. Garoppolo is back. Garoppolo is back. The Niners are 20-6 when Garoppolo starts, compared to 5-21 with any other quarterback. 33 for 49, 390 yards, 4 TDs, no picks in 6 quarters this year. The Niners struggled on offense last week. Their offensive line was as bad as we've seen it in a long time. 16 pressures, Bebsy. 16 pressures. They had Kittle come back. He caught 15 passes for 183 yards. Raheem Mostert and Deebo Samuel, both listed as questionable, are a go. But you know these Niners inside and out, so you could give us the best update on injuries. Why don't we start with Niners injuries, and then let's move on to what you think the play is here, Dolphins-Niners.
Well, the Niners injuries now are obviously much, much bigger on the defense. They're still missing some pieces on offense. Obviously, center Weston Richburg is out. He's started the season on the PUP, so you won't see him until week 7 or 8. Then Jalen Hurd gets injured in the preseason. Then everyone else gets injured, and then some of them are back. Jordan Reed is out. So you still haven't seen this team at full strength. However, this is the closest that they will have been to full strength all year, especially if Deebo plays. He's been out with a mysterious illness not related to COVID, which is interesting. Kittle's back. Ayuk is looking to get more and more involved in this offense. Mostert being back is huge, although I don't see them giving him the ball that much. If he was questionable all week, they really like their group in the backfield, so I don't see him getting a ton of touches. If you're looking at player props, maybe stay off of Mostert's. But I do think this is the healthiest they've been. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, they still don't have all their edge rushers are gone. They have nobody. Ford's out, Bosa's out, Solomon Thomas plays on the edge sometimes. He's out. They signed Ziggy Ansah. He tears his bicep. He's out. And then the secondary is just in shambles. They have no corners. They have Jason Verrett and maybe Akello Witherspoon. I think he was a game-time decision, but he hasn't been healthy. If one of them goes down, they're going to have a safety playing corner. So that's the dangerous spot. It's why it's an off game for me. If anything, I'm leaning Miami to cover this game. So this is an ugly look. Unless that 49ers offense truly rolls with Jimmy and Mostert back, which I think they can. A lot of that pressure last week had to do with the matchup. The Philadelphia defensive line is very good. They're looked over because of how bad the rest of that football team is, but their D-line is very talented. And quite frankly, Nick Mullins held onto the ball too long and then didn't hold on to it when he should have. So numbers are awfully high for me to jump on this. I think the Niners should win. We all think they should win, but I would lean Miami if I was forced to make a bet on this one.
I am going to lean Miami and maybe pull the trigger. I'm going to pull you in and out very quickly here. We got a little blur from StreamYard. See if we can clean that up here. No, we're not having. There we go. There we go. Okay. I want to bet. I want to bet Miami. So give me the reasons why I should not bet Miami Dolphins plus 8.5.
The reasons you should not bet them all lie on the fact that this is the first time we are seeing a mostly healthy San Francisco offense. And this offense, healthy, should be able to put up tons of points. We just got to see it. Like, we haven't seen them play together yet this year. This group hasn't been together since the Super Bowl. So you saw Deebo get inched into the game last week. He didn't have a ton of touches, but when he did have them, he looked great. I do think as the season goes on, Ayuk's going to get more and more trust. He is great with the ball in his hands. You saw, obviously, that hurdle that he had where he was a good 6 feet in the air. So I do think Shanahan can open up the offense a little bit this week. And Mostert, man, that guy does not get enough respect for what he does. He is such an explosive runner. So having him in there, really helps it. That's the only reason I would not bet Miami, is because we're finally seeing this healthy offense, and the matchup is pretty good.
So we have 63% of the cash on the Niners and 56% of the tickets on the Niners. And this, the spreads move down. And I know we try, at least I try, to not get too involved in where the money's going and what's happening. If you look at the Raiders-Chiefs game, it says, now we all have different sites that we use to get this information, and I'm not sure what is the actual best, but I've got 77% of the cash in Raiders-Chiefs on the over, 81% of the tickets on the over, and yet that's dropped from 56 down to 54. So historically, that would mean that I'm in a nice position here. And I just think this is too many points for the Dolphins. And
it's a lot of points for a Niners team that's been, I'm not going to say underwhelming because it's not fair. They have been playing with their backups, but for lack of a better term, it's been a disappointing start to the season for the Niners. Most of it having to do with injury, but look, if this was the entire healthy Niners roster, you'd jump on this. You think it's a blowout, but it's not. So, and Miami has played some very good teams very tough.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and hum and haw, but I will spend the next 30 minutes doing it. I'm interested in the Dolphins plus 8.5 here. I am 0-2 when I backed the Dolphins so far this year. All right, let's move on to the 4:25 games. Colts, Browns. And this game has been tricky for me all week. It's very, very difficult for me to figure out. This total opened up at 47. It's now all the way up to 49. And just the leading indicator books have moved it to 49. So I expect it to be at 49 within the next 45 minutes. All the other books are at 48 or 48.5. The Colts opened up as favorites. Now the Browns are 1-point favorites. 66 Fahrenheit. No rain in Cleveland. We've seen a lot of rain in the Northeast, but no rain here, but 15-mile-per-hour winds. We have the NFL's top rushing team, minus Chubb, averaging 204.5 yards per game, going up against the league's best overall defense. So the Colts lead in points, allowed, yards, and picks. And their issues at linebacker are legitimate and real right now. And we don't know. I don't know if anybody has the latest information. So we know the only linebacker that Reich has ruled out is Matthew Adams. So he's the backup. He's been on injured reserve. So right now, Darius Leonard. We have Leonard with a groin injury, EJ Speed with an elbow injury, and Okereke sitting with a thumb injury. I don't know if any of them are going to be in the lineup, and they all could be. I don't know. Vincent Gigante got a great line on Cleveland at +3. So we know there's going to be no Chubb. The Browns ran for 307 yards, 3 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt will get the most out of Chubb not being there. This defense with Garrett leading the way, this defense has forced 8 turnovers in the last 2 weeks. They lead the league with 11 takeaways, and they're much healthier. So the only questionable spots here are quarterback Greedy Williams, defensive end Adrian Claiborne, and Tay Davis, the linebacker. Actually, Ogunjobi also questionable. Birdie says, we bet the Colts money line. I said it Tuesday, wait and get the Colts at a better price. When the line came out, it was to get Browns money, which has happened. Wow. Take it away, Bebsy. Very interesting matchup, Colts-Browns.
This could have been a pick 'em, and I would have had trouble with it, to be honest with you. I think these two teams are very similar in a lot of ways. They match up well. I think this is going to be a very good football game. I don't know if I trust the Colts without Darius Leonard. He's such a huge part of their defense, maybe the most important part of their defense. Timber Buckner, and with him out, it's such a critical loss to that defense. And the Browns, I don't like backing the Browns, but outside of week 1, where they got trounced by the Ravens, they have played good football, and they're playing smart. They're basing their offense around the running game, which even with that receiving talent they have there, that's what they have to do. They looked good even when Chubb went down last week, so I don't know how much that's going to factor in. I think Hunt is more than capable of carrying the load. And they still have, is it Duke Johnson? Is that their number 3 there?
Is Duke still there? Why did I think? Sorry, let me just bump that in.
No, Duke Johnson is on.
Yeah, he left, right?
He's on Houston now. Who's their number 3 there?
Yeah. Let me pull it up right now. Let me also pull you in and out. We have a StreamYard kind of messing with us for a sec. Let me. Yeah, there we go. We got you back in action. Yeah, Duke is on Houston, bro. Okay. Kirk Gray says Colts. Al Cervic says Browns look better every week under Steph, and it's Durnest Johnson. They're all saying it's Johnson, Bebsy.
Yeah, I knew it was a Johnson.
Another Johnson, Al Cervic says. All right.
But, I still think they're dangerous, and I think we're gonna have to wait and see what this Colts defense looks like without Darius Leonard. He's been absolutely phenomenal for them since they drafted him. So, coin flip for me in this game, to be honest with you. I think you can make arguments for both sides.
Damon says Colts are fool's gold. Now, if I was given a free bet, I would bet on the Colts.
See, if I was given a free bet, I think I'd bet on Cleveland. But I don't think you're insane for wanting the Colts. This is a really tough spot.
Our guy Benjamin says thoughts on the total here. This total opened up at 51.5 down to 49. What do you think of it? And just by the way, the money is on the under. 56% of the money is on the under, but 62% of the tickets are on the over.
I think I would lean under just because I almost feel this could turn into like an old-fashioned football dogfight with 2 running games squaring off, because I don't have faith in either one of these quarterbacks. I don't have faith in old Noodle Arm Rivers, and I don't have faith in Mr. Pouts. I don't like. I like Baker Mayfield when he's playing well and being jovial and having fun, but when he loses and he pouts like that, I just don't respect the man. So who are we going to see? The king of being a sucky baby, or are we going to see the guy who does all those really shitty commercials? So I don't know. It's hard to put any stock in these quarterbacks. They're both run-first offenses, even with Chubb out. So, yeah, Mr. Funmonk's kind of, Leonard out, Chubb out, too much mystery pass. I tend to agree with that, but I think even if both of them are in, there's too much mystery.
Well,
Mr. Goker says Rivers is a suck ass. It's kind of hard to argue that.
And a lot of love being given out to the diehard MMA podcast. Our man Clint in the house. James Lill says, do you like Niners minus 2.5 on a teaser? Yeah, I mean, I do, but I'm close to pulling the trigger on the Dolphins plus 8.5. So
yeah, but I think both of those bets would be logically in play. The Niners minus 2.5 is, I would take that bet.
Alrighty, let's move on to Giants Cowboys. But first, let's let Gas Station Sushi come in. He says Colts haven't faced a decent offense this year. Numbers are skewed. Take the over, full game 48.5. From our Gas Station Sushi. Herman Brito passed on Colts Browns. So will I. Randy Brand says Baker's favorite words is oops. Favorite word. Okay, let's move on to Giants Cowboys. Giants Cowboys up next. This total opens up at 54. Now sitting at 52. There are 51.5 and 52.5 on the board. The Cowboys open up at -9. They're now at 7.5. Dutch Boy Fresh loves the over in this spot, but I don't dislike it. But I'm not sure what to do with this game. These were the two games, the Colts Browns and Giants Cowboys, that I found very difficult. Garrett coming back to Dallas, offensive coordinator now with the Giants after 9+ years in Dallas. This Danny Dimes-led offense, second worst in the league, tied for second worst in the league. They're last in the league with 47 points scored. That's their fewest through 4 games since 1996. They've not scored a touchdown since early in the fourth quarter against the Bears in week 2. I mean, they're dealing with injuries. And O'Shane Ximines, their linebacker, Kyler Fackrell, both got hurt last game. They're questionable. Adrian Colbert injured his neck in the fourth quarter, their defensive back. And they have 2 safeties that they need. And one of them being I don't know exactly how they're going to handle their secondary right now. Top Set says, I love the Cowboys today. First half, full game. I'm all over this. Prescott, first player in NFL history with at least 450 yards passing in 3 straight games. A lot of that is because they face these double-digit deficits, and they've had to air it out. Dallas is the only NFL team averaging at least 500 yards per game at 5'10". And now they've lost Pro Bowler Tyron Smith. Their offensive line is going to be in absolute shambles. They've never given up more points and yards through 4 games in the history of their franchise. What do you think here, Giants, Cowboys? Bebsy, take it away.
If the Giants weren't so bad, I would love them to cover in this spot. I think I still lean for them to cover in this spot because, I've said it week after week. This Dallas team is not good. They just get praise heaped on them because they're the Cowboys. They should be winless. Let's face it, they should not have won against the Falcons. They're an awful football team that's been able to put up a lot of garbage time points. So now Dak's getting praise heaped upon him for it. It's been a lot of garbage time points. They were getting trounced by the Bears last week or the Browns last week until the Browns, you let off the gas and let them back in the game. It's Giants or no play for me because I cannot put any stock into the Cowboys. So you hope the Giants divisional matchup really step up and playing right now. I think it's Giants or nobody. If you're putting money on the Cowboys this week, it's dangerous. I certainly would not feel comfortable with that, especially with Tyron Smith out. He's so important that already weakened offensive line with Frederick retiring. So, man, I'm not putting the Cowboys. I'm not putting anything behind the Cowboys until they can show me that they're actually a good team, which I don't think they're capable of doing this year.
CMAC is backing the Giants at +9.5. Dutch Boy Fresh says Cowboys gave up 49 points to the Browns. G-Men will get 24. Their team totals at 22.5. Dennis Garcia says, I refuse to lay more than a TD with the defense that bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's an awful, awful defense in Dallas. So, look, there's no play on Dallas for me until they show me that they're an actually good football team, which they haven't had a chance to this year. Well, they've had many chances. They've just looked terrible.
66% of the money.
And Dak's numbers are so inflated. Like,
we have 66% of the money on Dallas, 86% of the tickets on Dallas. And this is very interesting for those of you attacking the total here. This, I try not to, and often I don't even have this up when we cap these games because I prefer just to cap them and not let this throw us into loop-the-loops. But listen to this. 82% of the money, it says, is on the under. And 64% of the tickets are on the over. So we have some big bets on the under in this game. Big bets. Topset says, remember, Cowboys by over 2 touchdowns. Jason Lowry says, yes, Giants are not winning. They haven't beat Dallas since 2016. Not a chance. Jason White says Dallas isn't good. Buddy's Nerfit says both teams are terrible. Babsy does it better than me. Terrible. All right, let's move on to
terrible.
Let's move on to Vikings Seahawks. This is the Sunday nighter. This is going to be a lot of fun. Now, there's been a lot of talk, and this is why we don't dwell on the weather on Tuesday. A lot of talk about rain, showers, but the showers are all day, and the chance of precipitation drops throughout the whole game. It just keeps dropping. So showers, it's supposed to start the game with still entitled showers, but let's not jump on this whole idea that it's going to be, showers throughout the game. I don't believe that's going to be the case here. Oh, this was very interesting. So Bebsy and I both jumped on the team total over full game on the Vikings at 23.5. I jumped on the first half team total over 10.5. On Friday, and I meant to say it during Betting with the Bag to Dennis Garcia, who's writes for odds and he's in our chat. I was going to say I was right. The first half team total had moved up to 12.5. It's subsequently dropped back to 10.5. And if Bebsy and I had have waited on the team total, we would have got a better line. We paid a lot of juice for this team total. We paid minus 138. It's back to minus 120 each side. Not only that, but the Seahawks team total since that drop has since Friday. So the team total since Friday in 48 hours has gone from 33.5 down to 31.5. Not only that, but this team total at 31.5 that's dropped 2 points to 33.5 is now juiced towards the under. So clearly, and I'll check out, see what it's saying, but clearly right now, money's coming in on this under. And it's another situation like we have with the Giants-Cowboys game. We have 55% of money on the under, but 66% of tickets on the over. So there have been some big bets placed on this under Vikings Seahawks. Before we break down all the stats and talk about the stats, what do you think, Bebsy, of this market move towards the under in Vikings Seahawks?
I don't get it. I just see two teams that can't keep the ball out of their own end zone and have a very easy time putting it in the other's end zone. I don't see that move. I still like the over in a season where overs are hitting like crazy, and both of these defenses are horrendous, and both of these offenses have shown they can put up points. This is still an overplay for me. I don't get the market move here.
Yeah, it's interesting. Chris Brady says not in love with it, but I'm on the Seattle game under 57. You're happy to look at that 55 and 54.5. This market move, by the way, let's just grab it here, is just falling as we speak. So let me move over the total here. Sorry, here we go. So at midnight, it was 57. And yesterday at 2:30, it was 57.5. So midnight, it's 57. 3 in the morning, it moves to 56. 11 this morning, so an hour ago, moves to 55.5, then 54.5. These are big late moves, and I really think if it's, it can't just be based on weather because, as I said, the precipitation percentages drops and drops and drops throughout the game. Pepper says both defenses are garbage. If there's weather problems, that tends to have turnovers, which mean better field position to score. And Steve Priest says Vikings Seahawks over 54.5, huge. And Dennis Garcia says, I meant what I said Tuesday. Minnesota first half team total should be 9. Yeah, he said that 10.5 was too high. And then Dennis, it went to 12.5. And I was like, oh, I'm going to show Dennis. Birdie agrees, says, I agree, Dennis. I don't think you can bet on Cousins to show up on primetime. I lean more towards Cousins struggling in this one. Lance LaRose giving us a final score of 27-20. Vikings did get their first win last week, 31-23 at Houston. They have the league's leading rusher in Dalvin Cook, 424 yards rushing, averaging 5.7 yards per carry, facing a Seattle defense that ranks third in the league in yards rushing allowed. And
Steve Priest makes a good point. The rain isn't as bad in Seattle. It's actually more cloudy. In general, you don't get like crazy storms in Seattle. You get drizzle. Jimmy used to live in Vancouver. You know what that climate is like. It doesn't pour there. It just kind of rains. So I don't think that's a huge factor, to be honest with you.
Seattle has a chance to go 5-0 for the first time in franchise history. Wilson has tied Manning's record with 16 TD passes in his first 4 games. He's completing 75% of his passes. He has 16 completions of more than 20 yards. He's averaging 9.4 yards per attempt. The Seahawks elevated Demarius Randall from their practice squad. Some people thought that Snacks might get off this practice squad. He's not. So they've elevated their safety, Demarius Randall. So Jamal Adams is out. Lano Hill is questionable. They're the 2 safeties.
Look, even if they're at full strength, they're a bad defense. That's the thing is this Seattle team's a bit of a mirage right now because everyone's super high on them for a start. Wilson looks incredible, but we all said what happened. We all knew that Russell Wilson was going to come out firing. They just do not have a defense. So when they come up against a balanced team, which they have not yet, Seattle's going to have problems. So for that, I think people got to relax a little bit on the Seahawks love, but I mean this week it's just 2 offenses that can move the ball going up against 2 defenses that cannot stop anything. So screams over to me still, even with Cousins' Monday night woes, we'll say, but I still love this a lot. I still very confident in the Vikings team total over. I think that's an easy hit against this injured but already terrible Seattle defense, even when they're not injured. Demarius Randall, I mean, as far as pulling a guy off the practice squad, that's a decent name to be pulling off the practice squad. But again, it's a guy on a practice squad of an awful defense. So what's he going to do? If he wasn't good enough to make this already terrible defense without injury, then who cares?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. That is a good point. So there you have all of the Sunday football action. We have kickoff in 42 minutes. Let's talk about Monday. Broncos-Patriots postponed until later in the year. That was announced a few hours ago. So let's move on to the Monday nighter, Chargers-Saints. And I went in pretty confident with the Saints early. First quarter, first half. I wish there was a sold out Superdome. I wish it was completely packed for Herbert, but I just felt like this was going to be a tough spot for Herbert. Their offensive line is completely banged up. You got the right tackle Bulaga, right guard Trey Turner. They're out. So they're already done. They're not going to be in the lineup. So that means that their starting center, starting right guard, and starting right tackle are all sidelined. And if you studied this team in the beginning of the year, it was the left side of the offensive line that was their big problem. It was not their right side. It was their left side that was a mess. Now the right side that was supposed to hold everything together is injured. You have Eckler, hamstring injury. So you have Joshua Kelly as the leading running back. And at one point, we thought this game was going to be moved to Indianapolis, and I was very concerned. I'm no longer concerned about my first quarter, first half action. I'm happy that I have it right now. Let's just see what the market has done with it. Let me move over. Sorry. Here we go. First quarter. Pull this up right now. Oh, it's money line. Sorry. First quarter spread. We have threes and more. But I've got 3. Wow, the books are all over the map. Let me just see exactly what Bet365 is doing. Bebsy, while I'm looking this up, what do you think of this spot? We still don't know about Michael Thomas. We're going to hear there's a ton of questionable injuries here with Lattimore, Janoris Jenkins. They also have their offensive tackles, Ranchik and Pete, and then Marcus Davenport and Jared Cook. They're all questionable, but we'll get more information. But I think that the issues on the front line of the Chargers are enormous. Now, what do you think of the spot that I'm on first quarter, first half on the Saints?
I like your spot in the sense that it's a smart / safe play in that you're looking at a veteran team playing on a Monday night team against a rookie quarterback. We'll see how he plays, but I kind of agree with what Al Cervic just said. Herbert should have already beat the Chiefs in Tampa Bay in his first year. He doesn't care where or when he plays. Kid's a gamer. I want to agree with that, and I think I do agree with that. It's early to jump on him right away. But, man, he has looked great, and we talked about it a bit on Tuesday about how a guy can, come to college, play out of his mind, but his team isn't great, so he doesn't necessarily get the love that he should, and then he gets picked a little later in the draft and winds up being a much better quarterback. Whereas a guy like Burrow, no knock against Burrow, I think he's been playing really well, but I mean, let's face it, that LSU team was astronomically better than Herbert's team. So Herbert looks the part. He has made some incredible big-time throws. That throw last week where the rush was in his face and he threw out a dime off his back foot for like a 58-yard touchdown or something. I really like Herbert, and if he shows up on Monday night against the Saints on the road and puts it up, I'm really going to start backing this kid for real.
Let me just pull you in and out very quickly here. We have some StreamYard blur issues, and I think we've gone back in business. This market has moved heavily against me on the first quarter. So this was a bad move at this point. The first half has stayed the same, -4.5, but you can get a much, much better line on the first quarter. Dennis Garcia says, to this point, I've been wrong about Herbert. Nasty Nate, we did not do bet. We did 1 o'clock action best bets. And that was, Bebs, you were a Chiefs first half -7.
Yeah. And Steelers. I think actually if I had to choose between the two, I think I love my Steelers pick right now.
Okay, Steelers. And then I moved on Texans first half -3. Texans first half -3. This Saints team tied for sixth in run defense. Trey Hendrickson has been their leading pass rusher at this point. He's got 3 sacks, and Cameron Jordan, who had 15.5 sacks last year, didn't get his first one until Sunday, expecting him to get rolling. And Vincent Gigante is on Superchargers cover +7.5. And Intex says Bebsy's been winning. He needs to pay his internet bill. I don't think this is I blame StreamYard. Yeah, Bebsy's got the nice.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm paying for the best, and I'm clearly not getting it. So maybe it's time to call my provider and scream at them.
Sure. But get a couple drinks in you so it can be real strong.
Chargers, don't you worry. Old Bebsy only calls customers when he's lit up.
Okay. What do you think now at this market? Was there a move that you're interested in for the big Monday nighter?
No. I tend to shy away a bit from certain primetime games, this being one of them. I really want to see. This is the last thing I need to see out of Herbert to truly believe in him, and I've kind of been behind him, but show up, play in New Orleans. I know it's not the same. It's not a packed Superdome. But to play them on Monday night, it'll be very interesting to see how he recovers, or not recovers, but shows up to this game. So I want to see this. I'm looking forward to this game, but I don't have a lean here one way or the other.
Then we have a Tuesday nighter, the rare Tuesday nighter. We hope there's been a new staff member that's tested positive for the Titans. They've temporarily closed their facility, so they're waiting for communication from the league on the next steps. So we're hoping
Is
that
there
there will
even
be
a line out on them?
There is no line on the Tuesday nighter right now, and understandably so. We're 35 minutes to kick off, so we want to get to best bets and stuff like that. But let's just briefly talk about this game. This game's going to be going on then when on our Tuesday opening line show. We have Whale Capper joining us. We're very excited about that. We have a couple players have been activated from the reserve COVID list for the Titans. Outside linebacker Isaiah Wilson and Greg Mabin, their defensive back. A.J. Brown was a knee injury, full participant for the Titans in practice. Taylor Lewin was limited. They're hoping that both play. So we went over all the guys who are on the COVID list, and it's not extremely important pieces, but it's enough. It's enough to make it a problem. So we have their defensive captain DeQuan Jones, long snapper Bo Brinkley, receiver Adam Humphries, outside linebacker Kamale Correa, rookie cornerback Christian Fulton, and that was their second round pick out of LSU. They have Cameron Batson, their receiver, and tight end Tommy Hudson from the practice squad. So, and getting Brown back is a big deal. Viper MB says 24 players and staff have COVID for Tennessee. For these Bills, Zach Moss, John Brown, questionable. Bills are 4-0, averaging 30.75 points per game. And 9 different players caught passes in their last game. They're just rolling. Levi Wallace, Matt Milano are out. Cornerback and linebacker are out. And Delshon Phillips, their linebacker, they're hoping to have him in the lineup. And Brian Winters, their guard, questionable with a knee injury. Is this a spot where when the line opens up, you want to attack the Titans? What is your thought process moving into the Tuesday nighter?
My thought process on this is the Bills, to me, this year feel a lot like the Niners last year, where they know they're good. Their fans know they're good. A handful of people seem to know that they're good, and everyone else is giving them no respect. I think last year it was up until like week 8 or 9 that everyone was like, oh, the Niners, they're pretenders. They were 8-0, and they were still saying it. The same thing's happening with the Bills. People are not respecting this Bills football team. I think whatever this line opens up at it's jump on the Bills. The Titans are such a mess right now with all this COVID stuff. I can't see them firing out of any game. And this Bills team is on fire, ready to attack. I think it was Birdie maybe saying this is a team that's learning how to destroy teams. But, yeah, man, I'm loving the Bills right now. I'm loving what they're doing on offense, obviously. I was high on this defense last year and this year. It's just too much love for the Bills right now for me that I don't see coming from everywhere, and it doesn't make any sense to me. The Bills and the Steelers are 2 teams that I'm super high on. It doesn't seem like everyone else is.
People seem to be coming around, but you're right. The Bills and Steelers are not getting nearly as much love as they probably should be getting. So there you have it. That is our entire NFL card. We are 30 minutes away from kickoff. I'm going to review Bebzy's action. He likes 2 of these spots the most. And correct me if I'm wrong, and we'll go back to you, Bebzy, but you don't dislike any of it. Bebzy's on 6 bets, and he hasn't added anything here on the show. He's not been adding bets. He's been locking them in on Tuesday and not adding anything. Bebzy sitting at 17-6 on the year. Panthers +3, Chiefs first half -7, Cardinals first half -3.5, Steelers full game -7, Ravens first half -7, Vikings team total over 23.5. If you were to pick your favorite play, it would go to the Steelers?
I think the Steelers, I'm just so high on the way they're playing right now, and I think they match up beautifully against Philadelphia. That's my top pick. Lock it in.
All right, we have a top pick here from Bebzy, top pick, and that is Steelers. Lock it in. For me, I've added 1 bet, and I'm about to add another. Let me get to it here. I added this Jets team total under 19.5 at +100. I am going to add the Dolphins +8.5. I just feel like the injuries that the Niners are dealing with they showed against a really weak Eagles team, and I am pulling the trigger on the Dolphins plus 8.5. So those are my two additions. On Tuesday, I locked in Raiders Chiefs under 56. I'm very nervous about my Cardinals first quarter, first half, because we've seen gas station sushi max bet Jets first half. But I have Cardinals first quarter minus 2.5, Cardinals first half minus 3.5, Steelers first half minus 4, Steelers full game minus 7, Bengals plus 13 minus 115, Texans first half minus 3. I doubled up on the Vikings team total overs first half and full game, and that's blatantly moving against me. I took the Saints first quarter minus 3. That's just hugely moving against me. This is the most I've had a few games move against me. And then Saints first half minus 4.5. And that's still where it is. That is our action. My best bet is Texans first half minus 3. Texans first half minus 3. I would be very confident in my Cardinals early action if gas station wasn't max betting against me. Slats 45 says Bebsy getting early lines correlates to his success. I agree, Slats. I agree. Vincent Gigante, thank you for the great words. Bebsy, we are now 28 minutes from kickoff. Any last words for these great cappers in the chat?
Guys, thanks for coming out. Let's get fucking paid. Let's get a couple of drinks on us, and let's fire up them goddamn barbecues, eh?
I like it. I like it, Bebsy. We have no show without you guys. We have Whale Capper joining us on Tuesday. Please join us Tuesday night. Viper NB, Al Cervix, Intex, Birdie, Slats 45, Po Buddies Nerfic, Von Polo, Vincent Gigante, James Brewer says, what about the Seattle game? We talked about it quite a bit, this Seattle game. And I've got these Vikes team total overs, which I'm not nearly as comfortable with as I was.
Be comfortable, Jimmy. Be comfortable.
Harlaw, thank you. Thank you, Birdie. Enjoy the game today. C-Mac, Mr. Fun Monk, Mark Unkefer, Gas Station Sushi, who's also max betting the under, first half under in Cowboys Giants at 25.5. Steve Priest just doubled up on the Seahawks Vikings over 52.5. Hector Smith watching from Denmark. Thank you, Hector. Andrew G, Lance LaRose, Dutch Boy Fresh, AJS Captain 24/7, Andrew G, Jimmy Stain. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for rolling with us. Let's have ourselves a day today. Let's go. Leche. Hey, Los Bookmakers. Enjoy your Sunday. Those of you in Canada, happy Thanksgiving.